Hello, everybody. Welcome to Jack Plotnick's acting workshop. I've been doing these for a couple months now, and it's been really cool to teach online, but I'd much rather be doing it in person. I hope you're all staying safe out there and not going insane. Okay. So, the way that this workshop works is that the actors who signed up are going to be doing their scenes opposite me as if it's an audition for that project. And then we'll discuss it. I'm going to talk a bit first, though. And it's a slightly shorter class than normal. We'll take a short break after the first three people perform, just like 2-minute break. But basically, just to introduce myself to anybody new out there, my approach to acting is a joyful, selfish, non-controlling, non-result oriented approach to acting that I believe books more work than what I consider to be the result oriented approach that some acting teachers are teaching out there. Um, basically, the the reason why I think that acting is fun and easy, film acting, is because I define acting as simply behaving as if it's really happening. Film acting is just behaving as if it's really happening, which is easy because that's just playing pretend. And the truth about film acting is that we don't even create our performance in a movie or TV show. The editor does. And our job is to just play spontaneously in front of the camera, giving the editor lots of magical, unplanned, happy accidents. Because as Christopher Reeve said, the great movies and TV shows are made of lucky accidents caught on film. And that's why it's not up to us to um, from a result-oriented way, pre-plan our performance because you literally can't. Because on set, the director wants you to do the scene slightly differently each time so he can create your performance in the editing room. So if you can agree that acting is just behaving as if it's really happening and that it's easy, then that means that there's really nothing you need to know about the art of acting except to remember that a lot of our favorite actors never trained at all. A lot of our favorite film actors never got any film training. Julie Andrews and uh, Jennifer Lawrence, Aaron Paul, these are terrific actors who didn't train, but instead just performed all the time. And when you perform all the time, it gets easier and you get better at it. That's how you grow as an artist. And that's why I believe it's an actor's job is to be acting all the time in whatever way brings them the most joy, surrounding yourself by other actors who inspire you, getting involved in projects with people who inspire you and who you respect. That's the best way to grow as an artist. However, what I can help actors with is getting okay with how uncomfortable acting is. It's really super uncomfortable to act. You feel vulnerable and tense. Your heart is racing. That's a good thing because your heart racing is your partner in your performance. So you wouldn't want to do anything to get rid of that. It's that racing heart that sends more blood to your brain. Your brain expands. You become almost superhuman. That's why magic happens in front of the camera. I like to say that the racing heart plugs me into my higher power or the magic of acting. And then I feel as though my higher power is guiding me through the performance. Because when you go to an audition, you're not going there to show them the way the scene will look. You're going there to discover in front of the producers one of the many ways the scene could look. Otherwise, you're just handing them a dead gift of your idea of how the scene should look. Now, yes, acting's very uncomfortable, but what you don't want to do is be anxious when you act. Anxiety is the enemy of the artist because you can't behave as if it's really happening if you're anxious. Now, what you have to understand is that a negative feeling like anxiety is caused by your ego voice in your head. Everyone has an ego. Your ego is the half of you that wants you to fail and will just say whatever it can think of to say to ruin your experience of doing your art. So I teach actors to imagine that you move that negative voice outside your head, and like maybe it's like this vulture squawking on your shoulder about how you're not prepared and you have to be a good actor and they don't like you. And once you've done that, you can now talk to your vulture with your true loving voice and let it know, I'm not interested in the things you're saying, so that your vulture will shut up. So the anxiety will roll off your shoulders and you'll be able to play pretend in front of producers. So the way you do that is I call them actor affirmations. They're the first chapter of my free book, which you can read here on my website. The actor affirmations are the language we speak to our vulture in to get her or him to shut up. So if I was sitting where you're sitting today and I had to perform, my vulture would be saying a lot of really mean stuff to me about how I'm not memorized enough and not prepared and I don't feel like doing this and you better impress Jack and everyone else. And so I would be saying affirmations. Well, I call them actor affirmations. Now I'm going to say what I'd be saying to my vulture, and you can pretend that you're saying this to your vulture. But I just want to first say, the language we talk to in our vulture, you have to understand the difference between want and need. Want is a good thing. I hope you want to book a TV series. I hope you want to do a good job today, but need is fear-based. We don't get what we need because need creates anxiety. It says, you're no good without this, or you know what's best for you, and it shuts us down. So here are some affirmations I'd be saying if I was about to have to perform. I release and destroy my need to control this audition today. I am not strong enough to control it. When I try, it never works. So instead, I'm just going to ask my higher power to lovingly guide me through it. And however it goes today, it was meant to go. Even if it goes badly, that's fine. Then it was meant to go badly. Somehow my highest self knows that I needed it to go badly. Next, my vulture might be saying a lot of things about how I'm not in the right space to do the scene, or how I'm not memorized enough, or how I have to get to the scene or earn the right to do the scene. So I would just tell my vulture, I release and destroy my need for any of those things, and I'm just going to take it from where I am. So in other words, however I'm feeling and however prepared I am is a fine place to begin the scene. And when the scene begins, I'm just going to approach it like an improv, as if it's really happening to me for the first time, and whatever happens, happens. Next, my vulture might be saying about how I need to be a good actor. And to that, I'd say, I release and destroy my need to even be an actor. I'm not an actor. I'm just here to be me and enjoy playing in the circumstances of the scene. I'll let the other people here be the actors and have all those responsibilities. I'm just here to be me and to enjoy playing in the circumstances of the scene. If I was doing a drama today, there's all sorts of things my vulture would be saying to me about drama acting, about how I've got to do a good job in the scene and make good choices, strong choices, active choices. A lot of the things that result-oriented teachers convince us is our responsibility. And to that, I would tell my vulture, I release and destroy my need to make any choices. I'm not going to make choices because in real life, I don't make choices. They happen to me. You see, acting in a drama on film is a mirror of real life. So anything you wouldn't be involved with in real life, you shouldn't be involved with when you're filming a drama. So I'm not going to make any choices, but more importantly, I'm going to allow choices to happen to me based on the circumstances. And vulture, if nothing happens, that's fine, because of projection. An audience projects upon a blank space everything they know about what's happening in the scene. And that's why if nothing happens, it's better than you making a choice, because you can't book drama work on film if you're making choices. The camera sees that. It doesn't look like real life. You have to allow choices to happen to you based on the circumstances. So I want to show you something real quick to illustrate how projection works. The most famous close-up in the history of cinema. And it's so powerful. It's still talked about today. I'm going to show it to you now. It's Greta Garbo at the end of the movie Queen Christina. Now, Greta Garbo, in the end of this movie, where is this? How do I do this? I want it to see, darn it. Oh, I have to do this, I see. Um, the most famous close-up in the history of cinema, still talked about today. Oh, darn it. You know what? That's really weird that it's not letting me do it now. I want to show you this, so I'm going to try it one more time. Okay, I can't show it to you. Sorry, guys. I'll just explain it to you. So the director told Greta Garbo at the end of this scene where she has to stand on the bow of this ship looking out at the war she lost and the lover she left behind. And he told her, just keep your face blank, because he knew that an audience could then project upon it. So basically, the close-up, which is considered the most powerful close-up in cinema history, looks like this. And it's so powerful, it's still talked about today. Look up Greta Garbo, Queen Christina, final shot. Now, the reason why I told her that is because if Greta Garbo instead had done what so many other actresses do, and in that final shot had gone like this, you know, it would have just been another crappy close-up that we've seen a billion times. So the reason why it was so powerful is because she did nothing. But the good news is, once you understand that if nothing happens, it's better than what you put there, then you don't panic and make a choice, and instead you receive a gift of an image or a thought or a concept that you might react to emotionally, which is I consider the definition of great acting, being surprised by a thought or feeling in front of a rolling camera. And when we're making choices, we don't even allow ourselves the opportunity to receive the gift of a powerful image, thought, concept, and therefore feeling. Next, when it comes to drama acting, I would remind my vulture that I'm not going to color the words of the scene. I'm not going to deliver the lines. I'm actually going to throw the words away, because in real life, words just sort of tumble out of your face. Like, I have no idea how I've said anything to you guys. I have interesting thoughts and feelings, and then these words tumble out. So what you want to remind yourself is that the words I'm going to throw away. I have faith, I have the character's thoughts and feelings. And by having faith, I have the character's thoughts and feelings. I do invite the universe to send me gifts of thoughts and feelings, but I don't really have to have the character's feelings. It's enough to just have faith, I have the character's thoughts and feelings, and then the words I'll throw away. And then lastly, I remind myself that I'm not going to get involved in any of the things actors get involved with to make their audience comfortable or to make themselves comfortable, because then everyone's just going to be comfortable. And an audience, when they watch your drama scene, they want to feel really uncomfortable and vulnerable and tense, like they're spying on something they're not invited to. And because acting runs on empathy, the audience can only feel what you, the actor, feel. If you're comfortable, they're comfortable. If you're trying to make them comfortable, they're comfortable. So that's why I would tell myself, I hope the audience feels so fucking uncomfortable watching me do this audition today. And I'm going to do that by not taking care of the scene at all, but instead and only being interested in my experience of behaving as if this is really happening to me for the first time. So that's my spiel on drama. If I was doing a comedy, my vulture would be saying how I have to be funny and you need to make them laugh, to which I would say to my vulture, no, I release and destroy my need to be funny. I'm just here to tickle myself. Again, if I'm tickled, the audience is tickled. And people say, well, what am I tickling myself with? And the answer is simple. If humans are weird, so our behavior is weird. Our real behavior is weird. So even if I was really crying over the death of a loved one and I was going like this, isn't that weird? So in a comedy, you're just tickling yourself with your own genuine, spontaneous human behavior. And lastly, I would tell my vulture that I release and destroy my need to impress these people here today. As a matter of fact, though I'm not really going to hate them, I'm going to give myself permission to hate all these people. Because if I have permission to hate them, then who gives a fuck what they think about me? And that's really what I'm worried about, isn't it? So I give myself permission to hate all these people today. Fuck them. I'm here for me, for my selfish enjoyment of getting to act today. So those are the actor affirmations. They're the most important thing I teach. And actors who've never met me, who come across them, and again, they're in the first chapter of my free ebook for actors. Actors who come across them who've never met me say it changed everything for them. I should add that when you start doing the affirmations, you may have to say them while you're acting, because you know your vulture squawks while you're acting, doesn't she? she says, oh, this isn't going well, or that's not how you plan to say that line. But the thing is, they can't read your thoughts, and it only takes a moment to say an affirmation to your vulture quickly, or even just saying, fuck it. And then your vulture shuts up, which means the pressure rolls off, and you can once again behave as if the scene is really happening to you for the first time. And I also recommend that you don't wait until it's an audition to start saying affirmations, because then your vulture is already in control. You want to practice the affirmations whenever your vulture squawks all day long, thereby exercising your true loving voice and weakening your vulture so that by the time you get to the audition, you're the one in charge, not your vulture. I can see the performers who are going to be performing today. So if anybody has any questions, you can wave your hand and let me know. And I'm going to just talk a little bit more before we start, because I think it's really important to talk about the secret to auditioning, which I misspelled. So it's the secret to audition. And that is that you are not here today to show us what the scene will look like in the finished product. Nope, that's not what we're doing today. Because all that will do is make you need to get it word perfect, keep it moving, and make it look like a nice, smooth, polished surface. And it doesn't book work because you can't behave as if it's really happening when you're doing that. But we go, but isn't that my job? To show them what the scene will look like in the finished product? To do it better than all the other people auditioning? No, it isn't, because it's not acting. So how do we act? How do we behave as if it's really happening? Well, we tell ourselves, I'm not here to show what the scene will look like in the finished product. I'm actually here to behave as if I've already done that, and we're now on like the 9th take. The 9th take is when an actor's on set and they've done the scene, and the first time actors do a scene on set, it's always that panicked, anxiety-ridden, let me get this right, isn't it? And then they do the scene again and again and again. And then around the 8th take, the director's like, wonderful, I've got it. We can move on to the next scene now, because I have the scene. It lives in those 8 takes we've done, and I'll put it together later so we can move on. Although, you know what? We got time to kill. I guess we could do the scene again, but I'm never going to look at this take because I don't need it. So I guess this one's for you, whatever. And then the actors do the scene. They play spontaneously in the circumstances. And the editor is like, thank God for the 9th take. Because finally they have something to use. Because it's the only time actors give themselves permission to act, to behave as if it's really happening. The secret to audition. So how do I do the 9th take? Well, right before I act, I play a little game on myself to control my thoughts. I pretend I'm the director, and he's already seen me do my audition and he loves it, but I'm doing it again. And so right before an audition, I talk to myself as though I'm the director, and he says to me, oh my gosh, Jack, thank you so much for bringing in all those brilliant choices. They were perfect for the scene, and I have them all on film perfectly, and I'm going to use them. So since we're done, and I'm never even going to look at this next take, I guess you don't have to do any of that brilliant stuff you brought in. Gosh, I guess just behave as if it's really happening. Just want to surprise yourself. Oh, take all the time you want. Take all the time you want. And you have permission to do it badly, because I'm never going to look at this tape. And then I do my audition. It's the only time you will give yourself permission to act if you agree that acting is behaving as if it's really happening. Do any of you have any questions about the 9th take, how to do it, what it is? I have a chapter on it, as I have a chapter on everything I teach in my free ebook. So you can check it out on my website if you want to hear more on that subject. I thought I turned off my ringer, but now I have. Okay, so does anybody who's here have a question about anything concerning acting? Something that's been coming up, something you don't care for, something about acting, something about your vulture and the affirmations? No? Okay, so, you know, Gabby, I'm going to do one more thing and then bring you up, okay? Because we have fewer people today, I have just a little more time to talk. And so I want to show you something that I don't always have time to share in every class, but I try to do it in every class because it is that important. And that is to talk about the concept of staying up. Because see, in your audition, I believe the selfish actor wants to be up here. This is where the fun is. This is where the magic happens. But as actors, we often will panic and want to keep looking down at the script. And that's because we think our job there is to get it word perfect. And it's great to want to get it word perfect. But again, to need to get it word perfect is unhealthy. It just causes anxiety and keeps you from being able to behave as if it's really happening. So I want to show you guys something that can change your acting forever. And that is, I want to show you what most actors do when they forget a line. So let me get a piece of paper. So here's what most actors do when they forget a line. Okay, I'm going to make up 2 lines and pretend I forgot the second one. They go like this. They go like this. I can't leave my wife. She needs me and so do the kids. Well, if instead of panicking and looking down, if you just stay up and try to remember the line, it looks like this. Here's me forgetting the line, but then I just stay up and wait for the line to come. So here's what that looks like. I can't leave my wife. She needs me and so do the kids. Now that moment when I was going, what the fuck is this line? Looks like I'm thinking, right? Well, you have to have those moments. You won't book work without those moments. But see, we get rid of those moments because we think in a moment of silence, they can read our mind and know that we're ashamed and that we blew it. But the truth is, the moment you forget your next line is the best moment of your audition. Because what could be more real than a human standing in front of another human thinking of what to say? Because you see, every scene you're ever going to do is about someone who doesn't know what they're going to say. But we turn every scene into a scene about someone who knows everything they're going to say and then wonder why we didn't book the job. And the reason why you can stay up and take all the time you want to remember the line is because when you're acting and your heart's racing, time speeds up. So what feels like 5 seconds of dead air is really just like 1 second has passed. So I hope you all will take the joyful risk of staying up to receive the line. But many actors will go, yeah, but what if the line never comes? And then they're right back to panicking and looking down. And I want to show you what it looks like if you stay up, wait for the line to come, but then it doesn't come, or at least something close enough. If I can remember the idea of the line, I'll just paraphrase it than look down. I'd rather paraphrase a line than panic and look down. But anyway, so here's what it looks like when you stay up, but the line doesn't come, and then you have to look down. Here's the thing we're so terrified of. I can't leave my wife. She needs me and so do the kids. Did that bother anyone? Because it doesn't bother them. And that was worst case scenario. So don't be the actor doing this out of fear that you may have to look down at some point. But again, it's my belief that until you're completely willing to paraphrase, you'll never book work because you'll always put getting it word perfect is more important than your selfish enjoyment of playing in the circumstances. And I think we can all agree that you'll never book a job because you said all the words right, but you will lose job after job if you put getting it word perfect as more important than your selfish enjoyment of playing in the circumstances. You are allowed to paraphrase, but nobody wants to paraphrase. So the healthy balance is memorize the script, but want to say a word perfectly. But once you're in the room in front of them, don't need to. And as long as you want to say a word perfectly, you'll never over paraphrase. That's the healthy balance to have. Okay, Gabby. Hey.
Hi.
So you're doing Ava. Are you doing scene 1 or 2?
One.
In a nutshell, this is a drama. In a nutshell, what's happening in this scene for our viewers?
I'm calling my boyfriend. He's on a run with some drugs. And I'm just checking in on him, basically what's going on, if everything's fine.
So you're a partner in this criminal activity of running drugs with him. It says that we're in Joe's house, but Ava in her pajamas leans on the counter eating a bowl of cereal, receiver on her shoulder. That's what the directions say. And because you have the first line, I'll let you begin whenever you're ready.
I'm ready. Morning, babe.
Oh, Ava, why are you calling?
For our usual morning check-in. How was your night?
My night, it was good. Yeah, really good. Good night all around.
Somebody's had too much coffee.
Ton of coffee. Hit the road early. Go.
So, what made it such a good night?
Huh?
You said you had a really good night. Did you manage to get some chickadee to bunk it with you?
Jesus, Ava, come on.
Easy, babe. I'm just pulling your chain.
The
How's the powder?
what?
The snowstorm? It's all over the news.
Oh, it's all hype. Listen, hey, I gotta go. I'm sorry.
I didn't realize driving in a straight line is so riveting.
And it's not that I don't want to talk. It's just with the snowstorm, I need all my brain cells working the wheel, you know?
I thought it was all hype. You need to stay clear-headed.
I am clear-headed.
You don't sound it.
Like I said, it's just too much caffeine on an empty stomach. I got the jitters.
How fast are you going? Next thing's like someone's gonna pull you over for speeding.
I'm under the limit.
Because Joe, I don't fancy you playing innocent with the cops. You're not really a good liar.
I'm able to handle the police.
What does that mean? Have you been stopped?
No.
Don't mess with me here. You need to get your head back in the game. Are you hearing me on this?
Yeah.
Stay on schedule. Don't take risks. I'm the one on the line here.
Hey, I'm the one driving the cargo.
For my contacts, if anything or anyone fucks up, then it's on me. That cargo needs to get here on time and without.
Okay, good. Let's stop there. Good. Very good. So I'm going to ask her what her experience was doing the scene. And the reason why is because I believe that it's your experience that matters. In what I consider to be fear-based or result-oriented acting classes, the teacher kind of trains the artist to be like, to do their art and then be like, well, how was I, teacher? Was I good? Was I bad? I don't know. And the truth is that you do know, because acting runs on empathy. The audience is only going to have the experience you have. And if you have an experience where your vulture, the fear-based result-oriented part of you, is squawking while you're doing the scene, that makes behaving as if this is really happening difficult. And so it's a bad experience for you. So it's a bad experience for the audience. Whereas if you have an experience where your vulture's silent, so it's easy to just behave as if this is really happening to you, then that's a good experience for you. So it's a good experience for the audience. That's why I tell actors, you've got to be totally selfish in film acting. Only interested in your own experience, because any part of you that's worried about them out there, do you like me? How's it going? Is a part of you that's not back here in your own selfish shit, wanting to have a rich, surprising, emotional experience, thereby giving the audience a rich, surprising, emotional experience. So when I say, what was your experience of that? What I mean is, did anything come up that you don't care for? Was there anything your vulture was saying?
Not really. Only one little moment when I kind of tripped up on the words and I was like, that's stupid. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, people trip up. It's fine. But that was the only thing that I kind of felt when
And listen, you'll always be aware when you, quote, trip up on a word, but what you don't want is your vulture to go, you fucked up the audition, or you're no good, or you need to be perfect, you know?
Right.
And so I'm glad, though, that you pointed out that you can talk to your vulture when it squawks while you're acting to get her to shut up again. Yeah, so I thought, is there anything else that felt better than usual?
Yeah, definitely. I felt like I was able to behave as if it's really happening.
Yeah, but that's easy, isn't it? That's not the hard part.
I wouldn't mind to invite a little bit of a richer experience, but
Yes, and
Okay.
that's about scene comprehension, and that's something we've been talking about lately. So
Mhm.
first off, I want to say that was a beautiful drama audition. You know, often it's what you don't do in a drama audition that books the job. And you didn't get involved in so many of the things actors get involved with to ruin their drama auditions, like making choices,
Mhm.
coloring words, and doing things to make the audience comfortable. And so it was a beautiful drama audition. And we have been, you and I, so I was so pleased because, you know, your goal here is to come in and do your second or third read if you're working with me, to do your second or third read the first time. And you sure did. And I was so proud of you. But we have been talking about scene comprehension, and I thought your scene comprehension was much better today, but you were missing an aspect of it that's very simple to correct.
Mhm.
So in scene comprehension is super easy. It's actually hard if you get involved in result-oriented concerns, which are not part of scene comprehension. And teachers try to convince us that it is. They try to convince us scene comprehension is very difficult and there's lots of work you can do in scene comprehension. No, scene comprehension is fucking easy. Because scene comprehension is just understanding what's obviously happening in the scene. Everything past that, the stuff teachers want you to plan, you mustn't plan. It kills all the spontaneity. You're supposed to receive it in the performance, and it's supposed to be different every time. Anyway, when you look at a script to get the scene comprehension, you just say to yourself, this is really happening to me, so what's happening? And then it's really easy to see what's literally obviously happening. And those are the circumstances. We put them in our belly, and then we do an improv about really being in those circumstances. We behave as if that's really happening to us. Now, while I love that you enjoyed the improv understanding that she's eating cereal at the top of the scene, I always say a few lines in, something more important is happening.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
It's not a scene about eating cereal.
Right.
You have to understand there's a reason a scene is in a movie or a TV show, but you don't have to understand exactly why. But you do have to understand what's obviously happening.
Mhm.
And you missed it a little bit, and that's okay. But that's why I say just have faith you have her thoughts and feelings. But if you don't, you won't invite gifts of thoughts and feelings. So she's asking him how something's going, right? It's just
Mhm.
an improv about checking in with your criminal boyfriend and buddy, right? That's
Right.
all.
Mhm.
When you don't really think crime is a big deal.
Mhm.
Then he starts acting weird, doesn't he?
Mm.
See, Liza Minnelli defines acting as hearing something for the first time, then saying something for the first time, which means you must have faith that you don't know what I'm going to say and you don't know what you're going to say, or you won't react to anything I'm saying.
Mhm. Mhm. Right.
Are you starting to see where I'm going with this?
Yes. Anticipating.
As an act, what'd you say?
Anticipating it a little bit. Was I anticipating things?
Well, nothing was happening because you weren't hearing what I was saying and having a reaction you might have if you were doing something against the law.
Mhm.
You do understand that when we get caught doing something against the law, we go to jail forever and lose our freedom.
Mhm.
I feel bad if I get a speeding ticket. Imagine how you'd feel living in jail for the rest of your life.
Mm. Mhm.
She wouldn't be asking him the questions if she didn't need to know the answer, right? But you just had no need to know the answer to anything because nothing he was saying
Mm.
was surprising to you.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
And
Right.
certainly I wouldn't be returning to the cereal, but because this is not a scene about cereal.
Mhm.
What anybody out there might notice that I'm not getting into details about the scene because I don't want to pre-plan a scene. I just want to make sure that you understand the literal obvious circumstances so that you can receive the scene. See, I believe that when I pick up a script, the scene is in the air around me, just waiting for an honest vessel to funnel through. And the way to be that vessel is to simply understand what's obviously literally happening. And you can't have a vulture screaming at you when you act, because then you can't behave as if it's really happening. And you can't have decided how you're going to act the whole scene, because then you can't receive the scene. You're just going to end up showing the scene the way you thought maybe it should go. What else do I want to say? You know, some literal sentences she uses are, you need to stay clear-headed. Now, the circumstances are not that your husband, or sorry, that your boyfriend is playing a game of tennis with a friend and you're saying you need to stay clear-headed. The literal obvious circumstances is your boyfriend criminal partner is carrying a truckload of drugs and needs to stay clear-headed. And by the way, it's important to understand that you didn't know he was going to say things that would make you have to say that.
Right. That's important.
Now, you'll notice everything I've said to you, you're like, oh, I knew that, right?
I kind of knew it, but I didn't feel it in my stomach, I think.
Yes. See, it's so important to make sure actors understand that scene comprehension is so easy that when you discuss it with them, they're always going to be like, oh, no, I knew that. I just didn't think it was very important. That's called not being able to see the forest for the trees. You ever heard that concept?
Yeah.
Now, in other words, what that means is when it comes to scene comprehension, what's happening in the scene is always right in front of you. It's a forest right in front of you and it's obvious. When you can't see the forest for the trees, what does that mean? It means you're not looking at what's right in front of you, but you're looking over here, doesn't it? And if we're looking over here, what does it mean we're looking at? Our vulture. Because our vulture is saying result-oriented concerns. Like, you're not memorized enough. You're not this character. You need to prove you're this character. You need to show what the scene will look like. All these things keep us from being able to just fucking see what's obviously happening so we can behave as if that's really happening to us. So we're going to do the scene again. And again, I loved what you did. You just, you know, not much could happen. You weren't necessarily behaving as if this was really happening to you. I want to remind you that every time you do a scene, you should want to feel. But remember, the character doesn't. Nobody wants to distrust their boyfriend or fear for their future or panic. Nobody wants to. So have faith. You have a seed of fear, panic, distrust in your belly, but you push it down. But good news, when you push down a seed of an emotion, it grows stronger. You feel it more, and then the audience feels it. You pull it up and show it to us, we're not going to feel anything. We're going to do the scene again. I'm going to say these affirmations. Fuck it, I'm not an actress. I'll just be here to be me. Take it from where I am. The 3 things for drama, I'm not going to make any choices. I'm going to go further down the road of not making choices than I ever have. And more importantly, I'm going to allow choices to happen to me, trusting that if nothing happens, that's fine. Number 2, these words I'll throw away. I have faith I have her thoughts and feelings, but the words I'll throw away. Number 3, I hope they feel so fucking uncomfortable watching this, and I'll do that by not taking care of it at all. And lastly, the director told me he already has it and it's perfect. And so he said, I don't know, I'm never going to look at this take. So I guess that means you can just behave as if it's really happening. You want to surprise yourself. Take all the time you want and you have permission to do it badly. Here we go.
Good morning, babe.
Hey, Ava, why are you calling?
For our usual morning check-in, Goose. How was your night?
My night? Oh, it's good. Yeah, really good. It's good night. Good night all around.
Somebody's got too much coffee.
Ton of coffee. Yeah, I hit the road early. I'm just go, go, go.
So what made it such a good night?
Huh?
You said you had a really good night. Did you manage to get some chickadee to bunk up with you?
Jesus, Ava, come on.
Easy, babe. I'm just pulling your chain. How's the powder?
What?
Snowstorm. It's all over the news.
Oh, it's all hype. Listen, honey, I gotta go. Okay, sorry.
I didn't realize driving in a straight line is so riveting.
No, it's not. I don't want to talk, baby. It's just the snowstorm, and I need all my brain cells working in the wheel. You know.
I thought it was all hype. You need to stay clear-headed.
I am clear-headed.
You don't sound it.
Like I said, it's just too much caffeine on an empty stomach, and I got the jitters.
How fast are you going?
I'm
Next thing, someone's gonna pull you over for speeding.
under the limit.
I don't fancy your odds at playing innocent with the police. You've never been much of a liar.
I'm able to handle the police.
What's that mean? Have you been stopped?
No, no.
Don't mess with my head here.
Okay. One thing that we can't do when we want to be affected by the scene is decide how the scene goes while we're memorizing.
Mm-hmm.
Because I just saw the same scene again.
Oh. Yeah, I felt that certain moments were kind of like that. I didn't feel like I memorized.
I loved it until the script says you were annoyed.
Oh, I didn't realize I was, yeah, okay.
The script says, Ava puts down her cereal bowl looking annoyed. That means you have to not feel a responsibility to show it, but to have faith in that moment that you're having thoughts and feelings around the concept of being frustrated and angry. That's what annoyed is.
Mm-hmm.
And this was your body position, and this was how you were talking. Hey, babe.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, we talked about how you could go to jail for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't care about this scene and you getting it right today. What I care about is when I say all that to you, what's your response? Do you say, Jack, I don't see it that way? Or Jack, I thought I was doing that? Or, I mean, what's your response?
I don't know. I mean, if I was doing that, maybe it was unconscious. It wasn't.
Well, we started this by me saying, you can't receive this part of the scene if you just do it the way you memorized it.
Mm-hmm.
And what you could say is, Jack, I don't agree that I memorized it that way, and that's why I did it that way again. Or you could say, you know what? I realize now I just fell right back into a groove of the way I heard the lines while I was memorizing.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Somewhere in between.
Okay, well, we're starting from how's the powder?
Okay.
And that means you've got to let go of any preconceived notion of how to do this scene because we already saw it anyway. And I'm going to ask you some questions about your life so you can remember how you really think and communicate. So you can bring that right into the scene so that we can't even tell the scene began.
Okay.
What did you have for dinner last night?
I had some pasta.
Where did you buy your pasta?
I made it myself.
Tell me how you made it.
Oh, it's onions and garlic with I can't remember.
What do you do to the onions and garlic? Do you saute it? How does it work?
I saute it and then I blend them. How's this?
You don't want to be able to tell the scene began.
Yeah.
And you don't like giving up your control, or you wouldn't have responded that way when you jumped into the scene with no control. And that's the goal. I'm trying to get you to let go of your control.
Okay.
So we can't tell the scene began. And what did you have for breakfast today?
I had bread with cream cheese.
Can you lean back in the chair so you're not slumped over? Where do you buy your bread and cream cheese?
I bought it at Ralph's.
Oh, which Ralph's? Where is it?
The one in Glendale.
With people social distancing? Tell me what you saw at Ralph's.
Yeah, I usually try to go. That's the powder.
Okay, I don't want to know the scene is beginning by you laying a quality over it based on some concept you have of this scene. I'm asking you to bring exactly how you really think and communicate into this scene so we can't tell the scene began, because that's a great drama audition. And so I was asking you if people were social distancing there. Were they?
Yes, more or less.
What's the scene?
How's the powder?
The what?
A snowstorm? It's all over the news.
Oh, it's all hype. Listen, honey, I gotta go.
I didn't realize driving to the straight line was so riveting.
No, I don't want to talk. It's just with the snowstorm, I need my brain cells all working, you know?
I thought it was all hype. You need to stay clear-headed.
Okay, I want to know where the girl went who was talking about grocery shopping and cooking. And when you watch this back, you'll see that. And you'll see how what happens is you're falling into a groove of a quality or result that you think is right for this scene.
Mm-hmm.
And it's blocking the scene from coming through you as an honest vessel. Because as I said, you can't be an honest vessel for the scene if you've decided the way it's going to look and sound because of your anxieties. So what would you guess is your largest anxiety about this scene or this character that makes you think maybe you're not right for it?
I don't know.
Think about it, because it's something your vulture is saying to you that you're listening to and making more important than just bringing right into the scene how you really think and communicate.
Maybe she seems very controlling and confident.
Okay, controlling and confident.
I don't know.
First off, controlling, sure, but confident is something you came up with to keep yourself from behaving. Okay, nobody is a superhero. And nobody is so confident that they're not worried about being thrown in jail. You're never playing superheroes. So basically what I'm going to tell you what happened, which is this. When it comes to circumstances like controlling or confident, I always say put them in your belly, let your gut do with them what it will. You're under no responsibility to prove you're confident and controlling. What happened is you took the circumstances, confident, controlling, and put them in your head, which made you feel a responsibility to show the audience that you're confident, controlling out of your fear of failure. And that's what happened today. It was a great beginning of the scene, but you were unable to behave as if the second half of the scene is really happening, because in the second half of the scene, she isn't confident. But please don't ever play qualities, because when you lay a quality, or in other words, an answer over even one line of dialogue, then you can't get in touch with the moment-to-moment fleeting thoughts, feelings, and impulses that happen even in one line. But we need you in your audition. And right now, you still get trapped with issues of character where you think it's your responsibility to be the character. So read my chapter about you are the character, because you are. Okay, very good work.
Thank you.
Yes. Anybody have any questions about what I've shared so far? Otherwise, we're going to move on to the next performer. Janet, you ready? It is you, right? Is it you?
I thought there was somebody after.
Oh, you're right. Who's Phoenix? F-E-I-N-I-C-S. Who is that? Is that person not here? Janet, I'm going to have you go, but would you like 1 minute? Do you need time? Because whoever Phoenix is isn't here. You want to go?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Okay. What scene are we doing?
It's a scene between Michaela and Fishy.
Oh, yeah.
It's a short scene. I don't know. They're inside of an apartment.
Is the title of the file Michaela?
Well, it says Michaela and Fishy on mine.
And it starts with, why do men have to picture someone?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So this is a filmed half-hour comedy scene.
Okay.
And she's talking to a friend, someone that they used to date in their past, but now they're just friends. And because you have the first line, I'm going to let you begin whenever you're ready.
Okay. Why do men have to picture someone when they masturbate?
What do you mean?
When you masturbate, you picture a woman, right?
Yeah,
Who?
that is how it works. Who? All I don't know, all sorts.
Even women that you know?
Yeah.
Do you ever picture me?
Yeah.
Really? How?
No, what? No, I'm not going to tell you.
Oh, why not?
Guys, I'm not.
Well, do you think about a lot of women?
Yes.
Oh.
What? You don't think about many men?
Well, that's what I meant before. Women don't have to picture someone.
Okay. Well, then what do you think about?
Oh, I don't know. Oh, I usually imagine a giant hand touching me.
A giant hand touching
Yes.
you. Okay. Is it attached to anyone?
Come to think of it, I know it's odd. No, it isn't
Okay, good. Let's
attached.
stop there.
Okay.
Good. What's your experience? Did anything come up you don't care for? Anything your vulture was squawking about?
Yeah, this vulture was squawking.
What was your vulture saying while you're trying to play pretend?
The vulture was back on the words again, and
What about the words? Because your vulture is saying something very specific. What was she saying about the words?
get the words right.
I release and destroy my need to get these words right. Your vulture isn't saying the truth. Your vulture is saying what she knows you'll currently listen to. So if you just keep saying, I want to get them right, but I release and destroy my need to get them right, fuck the words. I don't mind paraphrasing. I hope I forget the lines, because the moment I forget the line and have to think of what to say is the best moment of my audition. Your vulture will shut up. The pressure on your brain will go away. And then guess what happens? You remember all the words, or a lot more than you would have remembered with the thought, get the words right. So you tell your vulture, my brain is a supercomputer. When my heart is racing, I'll remember words I didn't even know I memorized. But if you're squawking, my brain can't function. So it's okay to say fuck the words, because then your brain can function. And our brains really are supercomputers when your heart's racing. You are more than you think you are. You're hand in hand with your racing heart. Anything else your vulture was saying?
Get it right. Get it right.
There is no right way to do a
hold.
Don't forget that. I release and destroy my need to get the scene right. There are correct circumstances, but there is no right way to do a scene. I'm supposed to want the scene to be different every time. Plus, the director said it's the 9th take. He said, I already did the scene right, and he's going to use it. He said, now I could just do one where I just see what happens, and I have permission to do it badly. Did you remind yourself about the 9th take before you did this?
I did not.
Okay, so now we know next time you act, you're going to want to say, I release and destroy my need to get it word perfect. I release and destroy my need to get it right. It's the 9th take, so that your vulture won't say these things, because she will say them the next time you act. But will you come prepared? That's the question. What else did your vulture say?
Get it right. I don't like this one.
Well, we sure wish we saw what you just showed us right now in the performance.
Say again?
We sure wish we could have seen what you just allowed us to see in the performance.
Yep.
Because that was what you just did, was called human behavior, which won't come out of you if you're not behaving as if it's really happening. And you won't give yourself permission to behave as if it's really happening if you're listening to a vulture tell you, no, you've got to show what the scene will look like in the finished product. So go on, what were you going to say?
The vulture was on me about impressing people.
Who?
You and Gabby and whoever else is here.
Did you give yourself permission to hate us?
So yeah, I'm going to now.
Now it's not about convincing yourself that you don't need to impress us. It's about letting your vulture know, vulture, what you're saying isn't helpful. So I just want you to shut up so I can focus on what matters, which is behaving as if this is really happening. What matters is having faith that Jack is my ex-boyfriend. What matters is having faith that I'm at his, I've been hanging out with him for a little bit, and now the subject of masturbation comes up. That's what matters, not you telling me to impress them.
Okay.
Did you remind your vulture that we're not your childhood?
I did not today.
If you don't do that,
Yeah.
Janet,
Yeah.
you will always fall for what your vulture's saying.
Okay.
Because you're not creating a safe space in which to play. So of course you're going to listen to your vulture, because you're going to feel like this isn't safe and I don't know why. Vulture, why am I not safe? Oh, I've got a million reasons. The words, impressing Jack,
Okay.
getting it right.
Okay.
So I want to remind you that the literal obvious circumstances are about talking about masturbation.
Okay.
We're going to talk about your life so you can remember how you really think and communicate. And then we're just going to bring it right into the scene, and we're going to do the 9th take. Release and destroy your need to be funny, but you are here to tickle yourself with your genuine human behavior when you're talking to an old friend about jerking off. When you were younger, what elementary school did you go to?
Loomis Grammar School.
Did you ever poop or pee in your pants?
Of course.
Of course. What do you mean? Where? When?
Well,
Without telling us.
Yeah.
Where were you the first time you went to second base, which is boob squeezing? Or maybe you don't have to tell us, but I'm curious where you were.
At a party.
Start the scene.
Why do men have to picture someone when they masturbate?
Wait, what do you mean? What?
Well, when you masturbate, you picture someone.
I want to do the exercise again. There was nothing wrong with what you're doing, but I want to remind you to throw the words away.
Yeah, I'm thinking about them.
In real life, we don't deliver words because we know what we're going to say. Every scene you're going to do practically is a scene about someone thinking out loud.
Okay.
And that's why we don't deliver words, because we don't know what we're going to say. We're just thinking out loud. And you were doing that when I was asking you questions, but when you jumped into the scene, we got the way you memorized it. And that's okay, but we already saw that. So this time we're going to bring right into the scene how you really think, communicate, and let go of any way you ever did it, because we already saw that. Instead, just want to be surprised, and you have permission to do it badly. Take it from where you are, because however you're feeling is fine. But you were saying that you were where when he squeezed the boots?
A party.
Whose party and where in the room?
I was in the hallway, and I don't remember whose party. Probably Cindy's.
And without saying anything you don't want to say, where were you the first time you went to third base? Start the scene.
Oh. Why do men have to picture someone when they masturbate?
What do you mean?
When you masturbate, you picture someone, right?
Yeah, that is how it works.
Well, who?
All sorts.
Even women you know?
Fuck yeah.
Do you ever picture me?
Yeah.
Really? How?
No.
How?
No, I'm not going to tell you that.
Why not?
Because no. Gross.
Well, how many women do you think about? A lot?
Yeah, all of them. Why? Don't you think about a lot of men?
That's the thing I was telling you. Women don't have to picture someone to masturbate.
Okay, so what do you think about?
Well, I don't know. I usually imagine a giant hand touching me.
A giant hand touching you.
Yes.
Is it okay? Is the giant hand attached to anyone?
Come to think of it, no. I know it's odd, but
No, that sounds like a horror film.
okay, a bit.
It's floating in front of you. Does it have like a ring or a watch band or an identifying?
No,
What's
nothing.
your experience of that? Less vulture squawking?
Oh yeah. Yep. Yep.
Isn't that nice to get to do your art with no vulture squawking?
Oh, it's so nice.
Isn't it easier?
Yep. More
Because you
fun.
didn't have a vulture squawking. Was it easier to behave as if it's really happening?
Yes.
And because you were behaving like it was really happening and not a scene, did you find that you were more surprised by how the lines came out?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
see, that's what that exercise does when we're talking about our past or whatever, about our own lives. We don't have a vulture yelling at us. And then when we jump into the scene, often our vulture forgets we're doing a scene and stays quiet. But the affirmations do what that exercise does, and they do it better.
Okay.
But I'm telling you, I even when I'm on set, there isn't a take I do where right before we roll, I'm not saying affirmations right up until action.
Okay.
And it sounds like you're kind of being a little,
Lax.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also I'm still hearing a little bit of your connection to the way you heard them in your head when you memorize. So are you making sure to memorize them with no line reading attached? When your vulture goes, say it like this, do you tell your vulture, no, I don't want to know how I'm going to say it. I'm just memorizing, not acting.
Yeah, I practice that, and then I have to bring myself back. Do you know what I'm saying? I practice it, and then I start my vulture starts to direct, and then I have to bring it back. So I do end up doing some of that, but I'm in the process. Yeah.
You need to let go of all of that.
Okay.
When we're memorizing, try memorizing with a disinterested, monotone, rhythmic robot voice.
Robot. Okay.
Because you're not acting, you're memorizing, you're getting the tools so that when the scene begins, you can behave as if it's really happening and let these words tumble out of your face in a new way that you never expected.
Okay.
Otherwise, you're going to just fall back into the grooves you laid while memorizing.
Yeah.
So tell your vulture, no, I don't want to know how I'm going to say it. I want to be surprised by how I say it. And also the line readings you're giving me are shit because my heart isn't racing. They're just shitty line readings I came up with. Not something beautiful that me and my higher power received when my heart's racing. So vulture, while I memorize, I'll put all my focus on what the words mean. So when your vulture starts doing line readings, you refocus and put all your focus on the meaning of the words, which is always obvious, the literal meaning of the words, and say them with a disinterested, monotone, rhythmic voice. You can even take one step for each syllable to really force yourself to not fall into line readings.
Okay. That's good to know. Okay.
Also, I'm gonna let you go now and talk a little bit more. Good work, though. It was a good audition.
You.
Just weren't
Thank
able
you.
to yourself with your genuine human behavior because you weren't allowing a lot of it. However, your last time was a much better audition. But I would have liked to see even more of the behaviors I saw while you were talking about getting your boob squeezed. Because but I felt you were blocking out receiving gifts of interesting line readings at times because you thought it was your turn to say a line.
Okay.
Good work, though. Very good. And I want to talk to you about this concept of thinking it's my turn to say a line. Actors think their job is to say these words and say them well. Say them better than the other actresses in the waiting room. But when you think your job in an audition is to say the lines and say them well, you'll rush through your audition as if you're going down this narrow hallway where your job is to say the words, say them well. But because you're going down a narrow hallway and you're constricted by those walls, you end up racing through the scene and you're like, oh, that was fast. How was I? But I want you guys to be the actors who break down the walls that you feel constrict you. And instead, you see the scene as this big playing field where anything could happen. These are just the words, but anything could happen in terms of thoughts, feelings, sound, movement, added words. Then you're the actor who's really approaching the scene like an improv. Like real life, like it's happening for the first time. A scene is never about what's being said it's never about the lines, it's about what's happening in the scene. And what's happening in the scene is you're with an old friend and you decide you want to talk about masturbating. But you're not going to do a scene about that. You're going to fucking behave as if you're really talking about masturbating. There's no right way to. One actress may be like, why do you do that? And another actress might be like, what do you do that for? You know, it's like, who knows? You should want it to come out of you differently every time. But the nice thing is, if you just say the words, you'll be better than the actresses who are in there before you, talking too loud for the room, making strong choices, and overacting. Just behave as if it's really happening and tickle yourself. It's a filmed half-hour comedy, so you can muscle some moments and make some choices, but it's not a sitcom where you can really pre-plan a lot of line readings. Not that you were doing any of that. I'm talking to everybody now, Janet. I thought that was really great. Be saying the affirmations whenever your vulture squawks so that you're in the practice of doing it. Otherwise, you won't do it when it's time to act. And by the way, that's not me giving you a whole lot of homework, because I'm only saying to do the affirmations when your vulture squawks. And by doing that, all day long, you're choosing to focus on love. And what you focus on becomes stronger in your life. If you focus on fear, you spend more of your life in fear. If you focus on love, you spend more of your life involved in love. Is Phoenix here? Did we do Phoenix? No. Okay, so we're moving on to the third performer, who is Ross. You ready, Ross? You cool with that? Hello.
Yeah. Hey.
Hi, it's nice to see you.
What's
I
up?
haven't seen you in so long. Hello.
Yeah, it's been some time. This is awesome. I'm glad that you're doing this. This is going to be an experience.
Thank you. What scene are you doing? What's the file name called?
It is Justin.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure,
So,
right? Let me double check now.
Yeah, that's the file name, and I have it right here. So Justin, for those of you out there who don't know this scene, Justin works for a guy in politics, and Justin's job is to get him reelected. And it says that Justin is the only one left in the conference room at this evening hour, his feet up on the table, the phone crooked in his ear. A lot of phone crooked in ears today. But this is a drama, and because you have the first line, I'll just let you begin it whenever you're ready.
Okay. I don't care what the polls say, Tom. Yeah, Manuel Davalos is going to be our next mayor of Phoenix. Now, you can either get on the boat now, or you can miss the boat altogether. It's your call.
Justin, a word.
Yeah, see, that's not exactly the number that I consider getting on board, Tom. But you're going to have to dive a little bit deeper than that.
Justin.
Yeah, well, I'll think about it. I'll give you a call back. Okay. Everything all right?
I'm not sure. Did you ask Bridget Dubois to see if she could find us information we can use against Duncan?
Sure. She's not connected to the DA office, is she? Right?
No, she's a 12-year-old girl. I spent 20 minutes on the phone with her father explaining why someone from my campaign would ask her to do something so underhanded.
But did she see something?
That's not the point. I need to know you understand that nothing like this can ever happen again.
You know what, Manny? I'm beginning to wonder if I'm just wasting my time here. Because you know what I'd like to know? I'd like to know if you actually want to become the mayor of Phoenix. I upset you because I asked a little kid for help. Fine. I'm sorry that it'll never happen again, and I'm sorry that I offended your delicate sensibilities. But those are the latest flash polls. You are now trailing Duncan by 10 points. Now, you're doing it nobly. I'll grant you that. But you're still at a 2-digit deficit. So, I asked the kid if the kid could help us with something, if she could tell us something that could help us. But then you coming in here telling me that that isn't the point. So that makes me start to wonder if you're as committed to this as I am. Because this ship is sinking, pal. And I am getting tired of bailing water for you.
Good. What's your very good work? What's your experience of that? Anything come up you don't care for? Anything your vulture was squawking about?
Oh yeah, definitely a lot of stuff when I was on the phone. I probably that looks weird and forced that you're doing a phone call like that, and then probably more towards the end is saying things, you're taking a lot of time with this. Do people talk like this normally?
Okay, so
you're really forcing these moments.
Repeat the last thing you just said. You're like, what?
You might be forcing these moments or something like that.
Well,
but then there was times of being nice, being like, sorry.
I did not hear what you just said, but you started by saying your vulture said you're taking a long time with this. Do people really do this? But then your vulture said something that sounds like a totally different subject, which is you're like forcing these moments. So were those two different things your vulture was saying, or were they somehow related?
I think they were related. I think it was, it's hard to decipher, but I do remember saying back at it, no, I'm just going to take my time. So
I'm glad you did talk to your vulture so that he would stop talking to you about moving it along. Now,
then there was times, now that I'm remembering it, saying things like, oh, now you're just finally understanding what you're talking about. Like towards the end, where was that before? Like towards the last part of that monologue, I felt more like I knew what I was saying. And saying, why were you didn't know what you were saying before?
The nice thing is you don't have to understand a word you're saying. If you say the words, you're saying the words. The writer did that work for you. So don't have anxiety about really knowing what you're saying. If you understand what you're obviously saying, you understand what you're saying. Nonetheless, let's take these out. Let's talk about these one at a time, because your vulture isn't saying the truth. It's saying what it knows you'll currently listen to, and it will say these exact same things the next time you act. That's why it's important for us to discuss them so you can know what to say back to your vulture so it can't say these things to you anymore. In the beginning of the scene, it said something about, oh, you're talking on a phone. What did it say about that again? Remind me.
It was like, this seems like forced. You're taking too long to answer.
No, that was later. It said something about how this looks stupid. You're on a phone. It's not. You're not doing it. Like,
something like you're not talking on a phone naturally or something like that.
Okay, good. Naturally is a quality or result-oriented word. It's the language our vulture speaks in. Result-oriented language and qualities. So in other words, we know it's your vulture because it's a quality word. Therefore, we know it's fear-based. So it won't help you to behave as if the scene is really happening better. So you can just ignore it. So in other words, you'd say, I release and destroy my need to be natural. I release and destroy my need to know how to talk on a phone. If the phone is here and I'm talking, guess what? I'm talking on a phone. But my two words for acting are faith and trust. So you have faith you're talking on a phone. You trust that there's somebody on the other line. Anything that doesn't sound like faith and trust that you're involved in with your acting, you can just get rid of because it's not helping your acting. So I have faith I'm talking on a phone. The words I'm just going to throw away. I don't have to make any choices, and I hope they feel uncomfortable watching it so I don't have to prove to them I'm on a phone.
Yeah.
Then later, your vulture said, let's go through these things again. Later, your vulture said, now you finally understand it. So you say, look, I did my scene comprehension. I'm just going to take it from where I am. However well I understand it is how well I understand it. So I release and destroy my need to really understand it. Then your vulture goes, yeah, but earlier was bad. To which you'd say, well, you know what? Earlier went how it was meant to go for my greatest good. I'm relaxed, trusting in a higher plan that's unfolding for me. And I'm not even in control of this performance. My higher power is guiding me through it. Because I release and destroy my need to control this audition. I'm not strong enough to. That's part of understanding that last chapter of my book, so you can create a reality where there's no such thing as failure in your art, so that your vulture will keep going, you failed. Then your vulture said how it's something about it's forced. Is that what it said towards the end? What does that mean?
Well, I guess the term that you use is muscling. like felt like I was probably muscling the moments.
If you
and it was
become
telling me,
aware
like,
that you're making choices or muscling moments in a drama, what you don't want to do is respond to being aware that you might be muscling it with your vulture's voice telling you, don't make choices. Because it never gets us to stop making choices because we don't respond well to anxiety caused by our vulture. So if I become aware that I'm muscling moments or making choices in a drama, I use my true loving voice sort of to fly through my head, and it goes, hey, you don't have to make any choices. Do you understand?
mm-hmm.
So don't
Yeah, you're
focus
almost like redirecting it.
Yeah,
You're
as opposed
redirecting.
to, well, it's about what kind of voice you use to talk to your inner child. Are you going to spank him and say, you bad, bad boy for making choices? Or are you going to be a loving parent and go, yeah, I take all responsibility off you to make choices because you don't have to. You see?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Anything else your vulture said that we didn't discuss what to say back?
Yeah, I had a few, but I don't.
Anything else come
I
up that
don't
you didn't
remember.
care for that we haven't sort of gone into detail on?
Yeah, things will come up. I remember, like, where you did not listen. You didn't hear what he just said. You're
Okay,
just in
guess
your own
what?
space.
That's the language of another teacher you've worked with. I would never talk about really listening because in real life we don't really listen. It's a
Right.
slight scale. Sometimes we're listening 90%, sometimes we're listening 10%. So release it
Well, I
and
guess
destroy to really listen and instead tell yourself, I don't care about that. I just want to behave as if it's really happening.
interesting because yeah, but I've felt moments where I act where I do respond based on how I feel of what you said, right? Like you affected what my point of view is on this, and then you said something that affected me. Do you find when you're acting and when you're at your most comfortable, or when your vulture's squawking the least, that you're able to respond and have a feeling about what that person said to you?
But what you're talking about is not, you're putting emphasis on something that will not make acting easy and fun. You're putting the emphasis on a thing called really reacting to what I'm saying. But I never say that because that makes us feel like a student of acting or a soldier carrying out orders. I say, look, just tell yourself to behave as if it's really happening. Then you'll react maybe, but if you don't have to have the character's thoughts and feelings, if you did nothing but look at me, I'd project fascinating thoughts on you. But if you've got a vulture going, I don't think you're really listening to him, so you're not going to be able to react on your next line, then you can't receive any gifts in the performance. So your vulture isn't telling the truth. He's just trying to get you to be result oriented.
I guess then my other question would be to you, it sounds like you would find a way to not put this pressure on myself, but do you ever project or try to have a person that you're speaking with?
No. I want to go back to something and then I'll talk about that.
Okay.
I'm so glad you corrected yourself when you said, well, Jack, when you're having a good audition, and you said, when you're comfortable, no anxiety. And I'm so glad you did that because you guys, you'll never be comfortable when you act. You never will be. So don't make it the thing you want. Instead, make what you want to be free of anxiety. So I'm glad you corrected that because free of anxiety is easy. All you got to do is tell your vulture, what'd you say again? Oh, I need to be a good actor? No, fuck that. I release in the storm, I need to be a good actor, and I'm not even an actor. And then your vulture shuts up, and then you're free of anxiety, and then you can enjoy the incredible uncomfortableness and vulnerability of acting. Next, you talk about, Jack, do you pre-plan a person, a replacement or substitute person? No, I don't. If there's something you like to do in your acting and it's working, please feel free to keep doing it. Just know I don't.
Okay. And
because
my last question
may not really be as close to the person I'm actually talking to. And now I'd rather be talking to Davalis, who I think is a pussy. I think he's being a jerk.
Yeah.
And I think you know what I mean? But I don't need the person to lay over that.
Yeah.
Now, if someone surprises me in the performance, if as I'm talking to the character Davalis and all of a sudden I see an image of my father and it brings up a feeling in me, that's great. That's called substitution. But my belief is that you never pre-plan substitution. It's a wonderful gift that is sent to you in the performance. However, if part of your scene comprehension is going, oh, this is kind of like that math teacher I hated, that's fine. You can do that. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, you're so right, though. I've experienced that myself, too. When I'm at my best, it just comes up naturally, and I don't have to try and pre-plan
So
it.
did anything, Ross, feel better than usual based on what you're playing with today?
Yeah, I said, screw the words. I mean, I'm definitely somebody, and I'm glad that you talked about that a little bit at the beginning, because I definitely get hard on myself about being word perfect. And I know that no matter how much I get it, I'm still going to have slip ups. And in this time, I kind of just was like, stayed calm. I added a little and moved on. So.
And isn't it a delight to get to act without your vulture screaming at you about getting it word perfect?
Yeah, that's definitely much better for me.
You control that by what you say to your vulture right before you begin the audition. And today I said a lot of things about it, and it gave you that experience. You can say those things to yourself and you'll have the same experience. So anyway, what a joy to have you go away and come back to my workshop after so long and do such a beautiful audition. I was so
thank you.
pleased with it. And what I would say is that the scene got really good once you hung up the phone. And the reason why is that because you had anxiety in the first part of the scene, it made you muscle moments and deliver words. So we're going to do the scene again. And I want you to understand this, Ross. When I'm doing a drama, I don't just say to myself, I'm not going to make choices because more importantly, I'm going to allow them to happen. What I say to myself is, I'm going to go further down the road of not making choices than I ever have. I'm going to go further down the road of just throwing the words away and letting them fall out of my mouth than I ever have. Hoping something bigger than me stops them, and not knowing my next line is a great reason to get stopped, but I'm just going to throw them away. They'll come out of me when they're meant to come out. And lastly, that I'm going to go further down the road of hoping the audience feels fucking uncomfortable watching this than I ever have. Now, we think, well, I got to do the scene again, so I'm supposed to want to do the scene again. You know what? Every time I act, there's a part of me that doesn't want to do it because it's so uncomfortable and you got to face your vulture, you know? But guess what? Your character doesn't really want to have this experience with this guy, does he? So you don't have to want to. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I also don't want to try and predict it coming either, I guess. Like, like what you said earlier about we're saying it for the first time and we're hearing it for the first time.
Yes. You're going to behave as if it's really happening for the first time, which means you have faith. You don't know what I'm going to say, and you don't know what you're going to say. But also, you've been in this room for a long time, and you're on your 100th call. That's why your feet are up on the desk. You don't have to be gung-ho about doing this scene. That's all I'm saying. It's another reason to not feel any responsibility, to tell yourself, I'd rather do nothing than make choices. And then all responsibility of making choices will fall off your shoulders and you'll just go, fuck it. Let's just see what happens. All
right. Let's try that.
I'm the last one in here because I am the most devoted to my job and we're talking on the phone. Take it from where you are. You don't have to make choices. You throw away, hope we feel fucking uncomfortable watching. And lastly, the director says, Ross, thank you so much for bringing in all those brilliant choices. They were perfect for the scene. And I have them all on film perfectly and I'm going to use them. So since we're done, and I'm never going to look at this next take, I guess you don't have to do any of that brilliant stuff. I guess just behave as if it's really happening. Just want to surprise yourself. Oh, take all the time you want. And you have permission to do it badly. I'm never going to look at this tape. Here we go.
Okay. Yeah, I don't care what the polls say, Tom. Manuel Davalos is going to be your next mayor of Phoenix. So you can either get on board or you could miss the ship. It's your call.
Justin, a word.
Yeah, that's not exactly the number that we consider getting on board, but you're going to have to, dig just a little bit deeper than that, Tom.
Justin.
Don't think about it. I'll call you back. Everything all right?
Not sure. Did you ask Bridget Dubois to see if she could find us information to use against Duncan?
Sure. She's not employed by the office of the DA, right?
No, but she's a 12-year-old girl, and I just spent the afternoon explaining to her father why somebody in my office would ask her to do something so underhanded.
But did she see something?
That's not the point. Justin, I need to know that nothing like this is ever going to happen again.
Yeah. You know what, Manny? I am beginning to wonder, maybe I'm wasting my time here. I mean, you know what I'd like to know? I would like to know if you actually want to be the next mayor of Phoenix. You're mad at me because I asked the kid for help. Fine. I won't happen again. I didn't mean to offend your delicate sensibilities. But those are the new flash polls. And you are now trailing Duncan by 10 points. Now, you're doing it notably. Granted, I'll grant you that. But it's still a two-digit deficit.
I love this so much. It's such beautiful work. But Ross, I want to take it from the improv about showing him the numbers. I want you to understand that in a drama, the camera's like this.
Right.
It sees and feels everything you're going through. So I want you to, again, commit to saying, I'm going to go further down the road of not making any choices than I've ever gone, throwing away the words more than I've ever gone, and hoping Jack feels more fucking uncomfortable than he's ever felt, which means I'm going to be okay being uncomfortable, not taking care of the scene. Go.
Okay. From the top of that part?
No,
The end?
from the improv about showing him the polls.
Okay.
Now,
These are the...
give yourself permission to fucking hate me and everyone watching. Multiply by 1,000 how much you have permission to hate me. Put it in your belly. It will affect the scene in ways you don't need to understand.
Well, we're acting as if the camera's here, right? Is that what
You're
you're saying?
acting as if you're behaving as if it's really happening for the first time. And you're not making any choices.
Okay. But these are the flash polls. These are the new flash polls. You're now trailing Duncan by 10 points. And you're doing it notably. No, you're doing it nobly. I'll grant you that. But it's still a two-digit deficit. So if this girl could help us find something that'll help us, and you come in here and tell me that that isn't the point, that makes me start to think that maybe you're not as committed to this as I am. And I am getting tired of bailing water for this ship that is sinking.
What's your experience of that?
Well, I changed the last line, but it actually worked out.
Nobody
I reversed
cares.
it.
Nobody
I know,
cares. I know because I've cast Broadway musicals and feature films. They don't care about the lines. They care about the water you're swimming in. So I'm not going to talk about the lines with you.
No, I meant it in a good way. I meant it in a good way. Yeah.
What was your experience of that?
It felt more comfortable.
Can I give you another word for more comfortable? How about you had less anxiety?
Less anxiety. There's a couple of things I do want to ask you about just because I almost forgot the line. I was forgetting the lines and I just waited.
It was the best moment of your audition.
Right. And I was able to actually.
And you have to understand this, and now is my last note for you, because by the way, that was fucking amazing work. I loved the scene, but you have to understand when you're playing people who don't care what other people think, you have to get rid of your personal circumstance, Ross, of wanting to take care of people's feelings. You're very good at it, and you always have been, and it may have been your place in your family.
Yeah.
But it's not his circumstance. And what it does, because you like to make yourself and people comfortable, is it makes you muscle the scene and make choices in the last part. It makes you turn a drama that should be very uncomfortable to watch a man tell another man, I don't think you're being a man. You're turning it into a film to have hour comedy if you muscle it, because you're doing things to make the audience comfortable by getting rid of all the tension, which you're very good at, Ross, and you use brilliantly in comedy auditions. But this is not a comedy, and this is not a man who takes care of other people's feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And when you watch it, you're going to see that last time how powerful it was when you let go of your need to alleviate tension and make people comfortable by muscling moments, coloring words, or moving when you don't need to, and you really wouldn't if you were in these circumstances, which are something really fucking big is happening, which is a man is saying to another man, I doubt you even want to be fucking in politics. And I think I want this more than you. And I don't want to be on that ship. You tell me. You see?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But that's just part of, anyway, that was incredible work. Great audition.
Thank you.
Anything else you want to share?
It's awesome. Love working with you. It's been too long. I'm not going to try and make you feel comfortable, no, but I do believe that is truthful.
Oh, now you can in your real life. I'm the kind of person that makes people comfortable. I'm just saying in the safe space of a scene. But
well, that's why we do this, so we can do the things that we aren't able to in life. I feel like so.
Yeah, but when they watch a scene about this, they should feel so uncomfortable they want to leave the room. And so if you're doing anything to make your audience comfortable, you're not fulfilling the circumstances of this scene. But in every drama, the audience wants to feel wildly uncomfortable, like they're pulling a curtain aside, watching something they're not supposed to be watching.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, great work. Thanks,
Thanks, Jack. Good to see you. Thank you.
So we're literally taking like a 2.5 minute break, and then we're going to be back with Monica. And yeah, so I will see you guys in just a moment. Hi, everybody. Does anyone out there have any question about anything I've shared so far? I'm reading those chats now. Jack, my camera's not working. I'll have to set up my phone. What is your feeling about thinking of someone you're talking to? Oh, yeah, we already talked about all that. Yeah, does anybody out there, if you do have a question, just go like this. If you have a question for me about anything we've shared so far? No. Okay. So I'm going to bring you up now, Monica. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, what scene are you doing?
I'm doing, I think, the same scene that Jeanette was doing. I just got a,
Oh, I'm so sorry that you had to.
okay. I signed up late, so it's fine.
Well, I didn't, okay. Did you watch us work on it?
The first part I missed, but the second part I did.
Okay, well, try to put it out of your mind. Although, you know, it's like, I've been to many auditions in LA where like the doors of the audition room are like paper and you hear everyone's audition right before you. So in a way, it's something that often comes up in acting anyway.
No, that's fine. I'm fine. Like, not a problem at all. What can I do?
Okay, well, this is a filmed half-hour comedy.
Okay.
And Michaela is talking to her friend Fishy. They used to date a long time ago, but now they're just friends. And you have the first line, so I'll just let you begin whenever you're ready.
Okay.
Okay.
Why do men have to picture someone when they masturbate?
What do you mean?
But when you masturbate, you think of a girl, right?
That's how it works.
Who?
All sorts.
Even girls you know?
Yeah.
Have you ever pictured me?
Yeah.
Really? How?
What? No, I'm not going to tell you how.
Why not?
Because I'm not.
Do you think about many women? Do you think about many women?
Yeah.
Oh.
Why don't you think about many men?
Well, that's what I meant. I mean, we don't picture someone. You know, we don't need someone. Like women don't need someone, and we masturbate.
Okay. What do you think about?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think I usually imagine like a big giant hand touching me.
A big giant hand touching you.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's not attached to anyone.
Well, when I think of that, it's kind of odd.
Okay,
But
good.
no.
Stop you there. Good.
I tried to get. I don't have a lines. I just got them. But
Well, you think you don't know the lines, but you do know them all. So you might be frustrated that normally you like to have more time with it, but I quickly learned in LA it was not the auditions I had more time to work on that I booked. It was the ones I had no time to work on. Because the way I was preparing for auditions was all about pre-planning how I would do it, take out all the spontaneity. But when they just handed me a scene and gave me 5 minutes to look at it, I was like, well, okay, now I guess I'll just play. They know I don't have it perfectly memorized, and then I'd book it. But there is a way to prepare in a healthy way for auditions where you're memorizing, but you're not pre-planning line readings. Okay, so what was your experience of that? Did anything come up you don't care for? Or in other words, was there anything your vulture was squawking about?
yeah, it was first thing it was like saying me like, where are you going with this? Like that was like, what are
in
you
real
doing?
life? You know, because again, your vulture isn't saying the truth. She's simply saying what she knows you'll listen to. So I'll ask you, in real life, do you know where you're going with this? In real life, do you know where you're going with this?
I don't know, like depends. Like, I mean, not really.
Okay, so the universe sent you a gift of completely aligning you with the character by making you not really know where it was going. And you were like, oh, I don't know if I like that. You see?
Okay.
Because if you behave as if it's really happening, you'll realize that means you don't know what I'm going to say and you don't know what you're going to say. So you're not supposed to know where you're going with this.
Okay.
So I release and destroy my need to know where I'm going with this. And then your vulture can't say, do you know where you're going with this while you're acting? Also, you want to tell your vulture, I release and destroy my need to control this audition. That'll just ruin it. And instead, I'll just ask my higher power or my racing heart to lovingly guide me through it. And however it goes was meant to go. I just want to do the 9th take where I'm surprised by how it goes. Because that will allow me to behave as if it's really happening. Anything else your vulture was saying?
Oh yeah, I have that all the time. Like I'm messing. Like, did I pronounce that good? Did I say that good? Did I understand that? Did my partner get
I
it?
release and destroy my need to pronounce things good.
Okay. Well, yeah.
I have an accent, and until I totally get rid of my accent, I'm proud of my accent. Because I'm going to book roles of people with accents. So I release and destroy my need not to fuck up the pronunciations.
Okay.
Right? Doesn't that make sense?
Oh yeah.
Also, I release and destroy my need to pronounce everything perfectly, which means I release and destroy my need to be perfect. As a matter of fact, I embrace imperfection because life is imperfect. And I want it to just look like life. Does that help with that?
Yeah.
Anything else your vulture was saying? You know, you're going in and out. Like sometimes you'll talk and I can't hear you, and sometimes you'll talk and I can hear you really well. So I don't know what's going on with your microphone.
Maybe my mic.
Yeah, now I hear you great.
Oh, it's weird. Maybe I should be closer.
Maybe you could sit closer to the computer or bring the computer closer to you, maybe. So anything else your vulture was saying, Marika?
No, I don't think so. That's pretty much it. And yeah, I was do I have a good relationship with my partner? That's the thing. Also, I'm like, did I bring like a lot of things in it? Like that's also something I'm.
Well, that's two different subjects your vulture was talking about. One is, did I have a good relationship with my scene partner? And the other thing is, did you bring a lot to it? Let's talk about the first thing.
Okay.
In film is so much more selfish than theater, because film is a mirror, is more like real life. And in real life, we don't have a relationship with the person we're talking to, because the truth about humanity is we're incredibly selfish because we only experience what we're experiencing. So in other words, when we talk to a friend, sometimes one thing the friend says, we're listening to them, not, 100%. But the next thing our friend says, we're really lost in our own thoughts and we're not listening at all. So release and destroy your need to have a relationship with your scene partner and just have faith that I'm your ex-boyfriend and have faith I'm your friend.
Okay.
You don't have to prove it because acting's fake. You don't have to really be friends with me. Just pretend as if you behave as if you're friends with me. That's it. Then your vulture said, am I bringing enough to it? What did she mean by that?
I'm not sure, but it's like, is it? Well, I think it's almost kind of the same. Is where is it going?
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of similar. It's the same, actually. Yeah.
I need to control the audition and also embrace the fact and that the truth about acting is it's faith. The definition of acting isn't make it really happen. The definition is behave as if it's really happening. It's not, though. But the good news is once you realize that you don't have to be worried about all this stuff in order to make it real, then your hands aren't involved in worrying about all that stuff. And where's your hands? They're here, open in front of you, ready to receive gifts of images, thoughts, and concepts aligned with really being in these circumstances. Mm-hmm. So anyway, it's my first time to see you do a scene, right?
Yeah.
And I loved it. I thought it was a great audition, but not for filmed half hour. It was more of a sitcom guest star audition. Mm-hmm. But I thought it was terrific. And the reason why it was a good sitcom audition was I thought you were behaving as if it's really happening. I did feel that you were tickling yourself with your human behavior, but you were making too many choices and muscling too many moments and delivering the lines and coloring the words, which you can do all that stuff in a sitcom as long as you're behaving as if it's really happening. But in a filmed half hour, you can't. So let me explain it to you guys. It's all about whether you're making choices or not. Now, in the spectrum of acting, all acting is just behaving as if it's really happening. But on one end of the spectrum is the drama, which just like real life, you're not making any choices, but more important, allowing choices to happen to you. On the opposite end of the spectrum is the sitcom, guest star especially, where you can make choices on every line and do pre-planned line readings and color words. In the middle lies this, the filmed half-hour comedy, where throughout the scene, for half the scene, you can be muscling moments and making choices, but throughout the scene, for half the scene, you're not making any choices, but instead just seeing what happens to you. And that's not something I plan. That's a wave I ride. So in other words, as a filmed half-hour comedy audition's going, if I have a moment where I feel like I really muscle the line to tickle myself, then maybe the next line I'll just throw it away and instead see what happens to me in the line. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I think so.
Well, we're going to do an exercise that I just love because it gets rid of the moment when the scene begins and you're under pressure to act. So I'm just going to talk to you about your life so you can remember how you really think and communicate. In the middle of us talking, I'm going to just say, start the scene. And the goal is, without looking down at the script, to jump right into the scene, but bring with you right into the scene how you really think and communicate so that we can't even tell the scene began. To do this exercise, you got to get rid of any way you ever thought to do the lines, but we already saw that anyway, right? And instead just go, well, I'll just see what happens, right? So here we go. When you were younger, what was the name of the schools you went to?
Elementary school or my high school?
All of them.
Or my college? Well, elementary school was Mileva Kosovac in Serbia.
And again, this is just for you to remember how you really think and communicate. When I say start, jump right in the scene, but bring right with you into the scene how you really think and communicate so that we can't tell the scene even began. You were saying the high school you went to was go ahead, what was it?
Yeah, it was in Serbia. It was Mileva Kosovac. And then high school was a medical school. It's kind of different than America. And then
when you were younger, did you have an outfit you used to wear that you're like, I can't believe I wore that?
oh yeah, oh my God.
What? What was it?
I was going in medical high school and we're not supposed to wear, like we're supposed to have a good outfit.
Start the
And I
scene.
was, and why do men like have to picture someone when they masturbate?
What do you
I
mean?
don't get. Well, you know, when you masturbate, you have to think about the girl, right?
Yeah, that's how it works.
Why? Who?
All sorts.
Even women you know?
Yeah.
Oh, have you ever pictured me?
Yeah.
Oh, really? How?
No, I'm not going to tell you.
Why not?
Because I won't. My God.
Well, did you picture? I mean, many women? Do you have like? Did you picture a lot of women?
Yeah, I think all of them.
Oh.
Oh, because I mean, don't you think about a lot of guys when you do the?
Well, no. That's the point. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, we women don't usually picture someone. We don't need that. You know.
Okay, what do you think about?
I don't know. Like, I mean, I usually think, I don't know, huge hand touching me, like
Okay,
giant
I
hand.
want to stop you there. So good. So
I forgot it.
you
Okay.
like to talk about the lines and whether you remember or forget them. I don't care at all, and neither should you.
Okay.
At all, because it's so not have anything to do with whether we book the job. So why talk about it? What I care about though is if your vulture's screaming at you about lines, but I don't care about that in the result of the scene because they don't. That's not why you're going to book or not book a job. But anyway, I want to ask you, was that time easier or harder than the first time?
Easier. I didn't like way easier.
And was that time more fun or less fun than the first time?
More fun.
Well, that's what I
I'm
love.
more relaxed.
Well, no, you had less anxiety. You weren't relaxed. It's always uncomfortable to act. But anyway, that's what I love about this workshop is whenever actors have a beautiful adjustment, and that was such a great audition and full of so many beautiful, spontaneous, lucky accidents and genuine human behavior. Whenever actors have a terrific adjustment, they always say it was easier and more fun. So I guess that means acting's easier and more fun than you thought, right? And if it's better and it's easier, that doesn't mean it's better because we worked on it or you picked up some new acting technique. No, no, no. If it's better and it's easier, that means it's better because you actually stopped being involved in things you don't need to be involved in, things that make your acting harder and less good, which was anything your vulture was saying, because when you agreed that time, you had no vulture squawking, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, then here's how easy acting is. Next time you act, just tell your vulture, but no, I release and destroy my need for anything you're saying, even if it sounds true. And then you'll do what you just did so easy and so well. Because again, all that exercise does is get your vulture to shut up. But the affirmations do that better than that exercise, because the affirmations deal with what your vulture's specifically saying. But as soon as we got your vulture to shut up, boy, oh boy, were you able to behave as if it's really happening. And because you were behaving as if it was really happening, you were constantly surprised by things. And that's the goal, to leave an audition for a film thinking, oh my God, that was so exciting. I didn't expect to say that line like that, or to feel that, or to cry on that line, or to add that line I added at the end that made everyone in the room laugh. That's the energy that books work. But we're trying to go home thinking, well, okay, I said the first line like I planned. Okay, good, check. I said the second line the way I planned. Okay, good. You know what I mean? That doesn't book.
No, it doesn't work.
That's why every actor's motto should be, all I want to do is surprise myself. And the way you'll surprise yourself is by having faith that it's happening for real for the first time. Yeah. Anything you want to share? It was a beautiful audition.
Yeah, it was good. I loved it.
Do
I mean,
you know? Yeah.
I loved it. Yeah,
Well,
I did.
I stopped you because towards the end you took back control of the scene.
Yes, I got that too. I felt it. I was like, thank God he stopped me, because he was like, what the heck? Why did I do it?
The audience feels everything you feel. They can only have the experience you have. Now I happen to know why I'm feeling what I'm feeling. They don't know why they're feeling what they're feeling. They just go, well, I like her, but she's not right for this part. But the truth is, that's just when you did what? Explain to us what happened there around the line. That's what I meant before. Women don't have to picture someone.
Well, I was first thinking about the line. I got the line, and then I was like, is this going, like, it's supposed to be funny? Like, I know that. And it was like a lot of thinking. Like,
No, one thing came, your vulture, saying a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Saying, here comes the line. Do you know the line? This is supposed to be funny. How are you going to say it? So we now know that's where your vulture started squawking. But guess what? You could have, in that moment, when you became aware that your vulture was squawking, just said, no, I release in the storm. I need to be funny. Fuck it. Fuck it. Fuck it. Your vulture would have shut up. You would have felt the pressure roll off. And you would have once again be able to behave as if it's really happening. You have to understand, time speeds up when you act. And if you could have taken a big silent moment and we would have projected fascinating thoughts on you.
yeah, that's right.
Well, I thought, I liked it the first time. It just was a sitcom audition. This time it was a filmed half-hour comedy audition, and things happened that if you watched this back, you would have been like, I don't remember that. Things flashed across your face. Human behaviors came out of you. You had a moment where you went, I'll do it kind of in slow motion, where you went, like, it was so genius, because you guys, the brilliant moment is the honest moment. You can't fake spontaneity. You have to allow your human behavior to come out of you. And this time you allowed human behavior to come out of you. The first time you didn't. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't bad. You just showed us your sort of pre-planned, controlled human behavior, which you can do in a sitcom if you want to. Any other questions?
No, this is good. I like it.
Yes, very good work.
Thank you.
I don't have anything else to share. I thought it was wonderful. Good work. Yes. Okay, so up now is Michael. Yes, Michael. Last one up. Hello there. Oh no, you're muted.
How's that? Better?
Much better, thank you. What scene are you doing today?
This is John
Yes.
from
Okay. So we
support
looked,
group.
we looked at it last time, and we're doing that scene
Yeah, we're gonna try it again.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so it takes place, John is in as an AA sponsor, and it takes place at like, you know, the meeting place for an AA group, either maybe right before or right after the meeting. It says AA meeting room. And it says that John, the group leader, approaches Macy, who is a woman he's been sponsoring. And again, this is an hour-long drama audition. So you are the first line, so whenever you're ready, you can begin.
That was very good advice you gave Roberta.
Thanks, John. I hope I wasn't out of line.
No. No, you were right on the money.
It's a high compliment coming from you.
You know, Macy, the next few days are going to be crucial to Roberta. She's going to need a sponsor.
Yeah, somebody really good, someone like you.
Well, my plate's pretty full, but you're right. She's going to need someone good. Which is why I'd like to know if you'd be her sponsor.
Me? John, I'm still in recovery.
We're all in recovery, Macy. You've been sober for a number of years. I think you're ready to become a sponsor.
Serious?
I'm sure of it.
Sobriety is the most important thing in my life. That's my husband. John, yeah, I'd be honored to be Roberta's sponsor.
One thing I have to mention, Macy, you told Roberta that you needed your husband to help keep you clean.
Yeah, it's true, I do.
Yeah, it may appear that way. But make no mistake, you gain sobriety on your own. You can't let anyone else take that away from you. You have to claim that yourself.
I understand.
See? That's very important. As much as your husband loves you, and I'm sure you love your husband, your sobriety, not taking that first drink, has to take precedence over everything else in your life.
Good,
Everything.
I'm going to stop you there. Wait, it's coming down like cats and dogs there, isn't it?
Yeah, rainy. It's like a hurricane here, Jack. Yeah, it's crazy.
God bless your Wi-Fi for working. Wow, that was scary.
Yeah.
Okay, so what was your experience of that? Anything come up you don't care for? Anything your vulture was saying?
Yeah. It was squawking about, oh, and now you've had another week with this. You should be further along the road of not making choices, but I could feel myself muscling some things. Mostly that. But otherwise, I guess that's it. Yeah, I was letting myself, you know, a couple times I wasn't sure what was next line-wise, but I was allowing myself, I guess, to sort of talk to my vulture and say, yeah, that's okay. Doesn't matter. You know? So.
Good. I'm glad you're talking to your vulture when he squawks while you're acting, because you know if you don't, no one else is gonna.
Yeah.
So you said that your vulture said you should be further along with this. What did he mean by that?
Well, I think just having had this now for a couple weeks, just this feeling that I needed to, there were a lot of shoulds happening, I guess, that should be looser. I should be able to just behave like it's really happening, which I mostly felt like it was, but.
Well, behave as if it's really happening is the easiest thing in the world because it's not really happening and it's all fake. And if you just say the words, you're better than that poor guy in there before you who's talking too loud for the room and making strong choices, which makes him not even castable in a movie.
Right.
So you should behave as if it's really happening. You should tell your vulture, well, first off, it's the easiest thing in the world, but if you want to talk about it, then I release and destroy my need to behave as if it's really happening correctly.
Yeah.
Because that's really what your vulture is saying. Are you doing it correctly? Are you good enough? What was the other thing your vulture said? You said it was saying you should, looser. So loose. You'll never be loose because you're performing. Now, if you want to, and also loose, like why is John's quality loose? How do you know that? It doesn't say in the script, John is a loosey-goosey guy.
Right.
So I would definitely release and destroy your need to ever be loose because you never will be. However, some scenes, and not this one, but some scenes will say, John, easygoing, you know? And so easygoing is a delicious circumstance you can put in your belly, but I would not put the word loose in my belly. I'd put the word, I don't need anything from anyone. I'd put that as a circumstance in my belly, that I'm not on a clock because I kind of feel like I've got all the time in the world. That's another circumstance that I personally would put on my belly for the word easygoing. But that's the fun of being an actor because you get to be your own director, meaning you get to choose the circumstances you put in your belly to be affected by.
Yeah.
Anything. So we went through, your vulture said you need to be loose, you need to be further along because you've had the scene for the second week in a row. I'm sure your vulture was saying you should be really good at this scene by now.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, I
Yeah.
release and destroy my need to be good at the scene because that's my vulture trying to convince me my job is to show what the scene will look like in the finished product better than the other people. And I'm here to do the ninth take where the director's saying the opposite of that. The director is saying, oh no, Michael, I already have the scene perfectly.
Right.
So I don't care how you do this one. Take all the time you want. You have permission to do it badly. This one's for you. It's a sandbox you're playing in. But it's very easy for you to get into the concepts of, Another thing is this concept of actor. I have to be a good actor. Because I have a feeling your vulture was talking about things around that concept as well. Do you think so? To which you tell your vulture, I'm not an actor. I'm not an actor. I'm going to let the other people here be actors and have all those miserable responsibilities. Now, I'm just here to be me, to be Michael in these circumstances, knowing that there's no right way to do it, that I have a higher power guiding me through it, that I have the power to forgive myself unconditionally at all times, that the scene is going to go how it was meant to go, even if it's badly. These are the concepts in the final chapter of my book, that there's no right way for the scene to go, because there's correct circumstances, but they're obvious. I approach the woman I'm a sponsor to, and I'm going to let her know she's ready.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything else you want to share? Maybe anything else your vulture was saying or pressure that you felt?
No, I mean, sometimes and here I felt less of it, but I think because I had noise behind me, but sometimes I feel the silences a lot. And so I can hear this sort of deafening silence between lines that,
well, what you want to remember,
there's a lot going on. There's a lot of thinking, and they can see that and they can hear that. And
you're saying the things that you would say to your vulture when he starts going, there's silence. Is that what you're saying right now?
Kind of, yeah. So it's raining here, as you know. And that was a cover up for me that helped me with this scene because I was like, oh, good. And it doesn't have to be too quiet. So I don't have to hear this
Good.
deafening sound.
Michael, okay.
So,
What I want you to understand is that when you're acting, time speeds up. So what feels like 5 seconds of dead air is really just like 1 second. Also, they are partners in your performance in film. They're projecting so much on you. So when you're in a silent moment, you should have an understanding in your belly that, oh, they're projecting fascinating things on me right now. I might be thinking, what's my next line? But they're projecting on me that I'm having fascinating thoughts. This is the best moment of my audition because of projection.
Love that. Yeah, I love that. I love that.
Also,
We talk about that a
in
lot.
the silence, the concept is that silence makes them uncomfortable. And you're in a drama, you're supposed to want them to feel wildly uncomfortable. So you worrying about the silence is just you trying to make them and yourself comfortable. And then they're going to feel comfortable, and then it's a bad drama audition.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying to slow down a scene or want there to be huge silences. I'm telling you what to say to the culture next time he says, there's silence. There's not supposed to be silence. What are you going to do? You know? Because what I say about lines is throw them away. They're going to tumble out of your mouth whenever they want. Hope they get stopped by something. And forgetting a line is a great reason to get stopped, or maybe being surprised by a thought, or being surprised by what they say and having it create a new thought or concept in you. These are all good reasons for lines to get stopped. But basically, lines, you just throw them away and tumble through them, knowing that you've got all the time in the world.
Mm-hmm. Great.
Okay, so we now know the things your vulture was saying to you while you were acting. Now, they go, oh, I like Michael. I love him. I bring him in for all the roles, but I don't think this is the right role for him. What really happened was your vulture was squawking. But they don't know that, because that certainly wasn't a bad audition. But when your vulture squawks, it keeps you from shining your light, from behaving even more as if it was really happening. And that's not a hard thing for you, but actors have a hard time with scene comprehension. When their vulture starts squawking, then they lose track of what's literally obviously happening in the scene. So the way that because what happens is when your vulture thinks you're in a scene, it starts talking about all the things you said it was talking about. And then the scene gets fogged over by these fear-based vulture concerns. So the way you do healthy scene comprehension, which is, in other words, to blow that fog of fear off so you can see what's obviously happening in the scene, is when you look at the script right before you do any audition, you want to say, this is really happening to me. So what's happening? And then it's so fucking easy to see what's literally obviously happening, which is that you're telling somebody some good news. Now, when I say that, do you go, what? How did he get that? Or do you go, no, I knew that?
No, I knew that.
Okay, so that's what I share about scene comprehension, that whenever I tell an actor, I remind them what the scene comprehension is. It's always obvious and easy, but the actor puts something as more important than that. And it's the things your vulture wanted you to worry about.
Yeah.
That's why it's so important to get your vulture shut up, so that you can see what's happening in the scene. So you can understand the improv you're about to do, which is such a simple, easy improv. Either right before or right after a meeting, I'm letting somebody know some good news, which is, holy fuck, this girl who did not have her shit together when you met her, she does now. Now, what that's going to make you think or feel, don't plan it. Want to feel, but you don't plan thoughts and feelings. They're supposed to surprise you in the performance and be different every time. And then what's going to happen is she's going to say things you don't expect that are going to make you say things you don't expect. But essentially, it's just a scene about thinking out loud. Isn't that what life is? Constant just thinking out loud.
Yeah.
Right? So let's talk about your life, just so you can remember how you really think and communicate. And then I'll say start the scene, and I want you to, without looking at the script, to jump right into the scene. That was very good advice. But bring right with the end of the scene how you really think and communicate, and let go of any way you ever thought to do the scene.
Great.
You know? When you, what did you guys have? What do you have for breakfast today?
We had health oatmeal,
Health
peanut butter balls that Jane made. Yeah, she made these amazing no-bake
Why is it important to eat healthy?
I have no idea. Usually we don't eat that healthy.
No?
Well, we woke up and she said, I'm motivated to make this recipe. So she did.
Oh, that's nice. Where do you guys buy your food?
Trader Joe's, mostly Whole Foods.
Do you have it delivered? You go in and shop and
No, that's our big outing of the week. So we
start the scene.
go out there. And that was very good advice you gave, Roberta.
Oh, thanks, John. I hope I wasn't out of line.
No, you're right on the money.
That is a high compliment coming from you.
You know, Macy, the next few days are going to be crucial to Roberta. She's going to need a sponsor.
Yeah, somebody really good, like you.
Well, my plate's a little full, but you're right. She's going to need someone good, which is why I'd like to know if you'd be her sponsor.
You? God, I'm still in recovery.
Yeah, we're all in recovery, Macy. But make no mistake. Well, you've been sober for a number of days, a number of years now, right?
Good, good. I thought you did such a great job of bringing right into the scene how you really think and communicate. So easy, right, Michael? When you let go of all those responsibilities that actors have and instead just go, well, I'll just bring right into the scene how I really think and communicate. But essentially, that's because we got your vulture to shut up. You had no vulture squawks, did you?
Yeah.
However, your vulture squawked pretty loud about a line. Was it that you didn't know the line or that you got the wrong line?
I said the wrong line. I said it with confidence. It didn't really matter, but you know, it sort of almost follows, but it doesn't quite, because then I would get myself off coming up. So I had to backtrack.
Right. And I didn't have a problem that you skipped a line. I had a problem that your vulture squawked, which made you do something to make yourself comfortable, which then made me feel very comfortable. Which was a very large.
Yeah.
And that's only because you're not truly committed to being okay feeling wildly uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Hoping we feel fucking uncomfortable. And to do that, you got to give yourself permission to hate us or you're going to take care of us. You know?
Yeah.
Anyway.
I love that idea of
we're going to do the scene again.
Yeah.
And I want to share this concept with you. Before an audition, you're going to see all the actors involved in some of the things that your vultures want you to be involved in, worrying about responsibility. You know, you're going to see men practicing their lines against the wall, the way they're going to say them in the room. You're going to see men circling and scribbling actions, beats, and pre-planned thoughts on their script. When you see those things, I want you to say, there, but for the grace of God, go I. They're in a last-ditch effort to try to control the scene, and I know that I mustn't control the scene. So instead, I'm going to sit down and do my scene comprehension. Because my heart's racing, I'm going to understand the scene better than I could at home. So I'm going to sit down, I'm going to look at the script and say, this is really happening to me, so what's happening? Then that's how I'll understand what's literally obviously happening in every moment, which are the circumstances. Then I put them in my belly. I just throw them away. I'm not stupid. I'm not going to forget them. And I go in there and I do an improv about being in those circumstances. Because that line, my plate's pretty full, I guarantee you it has nothing to do with this scene. But in your memorizing, you laid down tracks for that line, which puts you on the words and not willing to throw them away and focus on the fun part, which is doing an improv about letting somebody who has been through the fire like you were know she graduated today. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
A scene is a series of improvs, and the scene is constantly changing. But the overall thing is that you love this girl like a friend.
Yeah.
The way a sponsor loves someone they're sponsoring. And it's a simple, just you can do this. And then she's going to say things that you don't expect.
Yeah. Yeah.
It makes you have to say things you didn't expect.
Okay.
So you don't have to make any choices. The words throw away. Hope we feel fucking uncomfortable watching it. Let go of any way you've already done it because the director just said, thank you for doing it so brilliantly. I have it all on film and I'm going to use it. So since we're done and I'm never going to look at this, you don't have to do any of that great stuff. I guess that means you can just behave as if it's really happening to you for the first time. Just want to surprise yourself and all the time you want. Your permission to do it badly. Fuck the words and here we go.
That was very good advice you gave, Roberta.
Well, thanks, John. I hope I wasn't out of line.
No, you're right on the money.
But that's a high compliment coming from you.
You know, Macy, the next few days are going to be crucial to Roberta. She's going to need a sponsor.
Good, good. I want to talk to you about something in your life that I feel is very similar to this, not for substitution, but so that you can remember how you really think and communicate when you're sharing good news with somebody. You have permission to fucking hate me, and we have all the time in the world, so there's not a rush. But lean back in the chair and tell me when you were younger, who was the kids you were friends with in elementary school? And if you can bring your chair closer to the computer, because you know the camera really in a drama is here, and I'd like to be able to see your eyes.
Is that better?
Sure. Who were your friends in elementary school?
I can't remember. I can't
That's okay,
remember
because
any of my
the
friends
goal
in
of this
elementary
is not
school.
to say the right answers, it's to remember how you think and communicate.
Yeah, I can't, honestly, I can't remember. I mean, I know who the people were that bullied me.
Oh,
I know the kids who, I can tell you their names.
I don't want to talk about that. That has nothing to do with this scene. So give yourself permission to hate everyone watching because we are not those kids. And this is not your childhood and you're safe now. But I want to know, who were your friends in college?
Well, I just Zoomed with them. Chris Berman, Matt Bossi, Alex.
Who was a friend that you enjoyed taking care of in some way?
The
or
friend?
watching out over, or a family member, someone that you enjoyed helping and watching out over. Was there a friend like that?
Yeah, I mean, I have a friend like that now out in LA.
Without saying their name,
No.
Give an example of something you do to help them.
I talked to another friend. I tried to get him connected with a theater company and tried to get his play produced, which felt good.
Felt good? Any
Yeah.
of it? Anything else about how it made you feel?
Proud. It made me feel, my heart kind of swelled. That was very good advice you gave, Roberta.
Oh, thank you, John. I hope I wasn't out of line, though.
No, you were right on the money.
That is a high compliment coming from you.
You know, Macy, the next few days are going to be very important to Roberta. She's going to need a sponsor.
Yeah, somebody really good. Someone like you.
My plate's full, really full. But you're right, she's going to need someone good, which is why I'd like to know if you'd be her sponsor.
John, I'm still in recovery.
Oh, we're all in recovery, Macy. You've been sober for a number of years now. I think you're ready to become a sponsor.
Serious?
I'm sure of it.
Sobriety is the most important thing in my life, John, next to my husband. Yeah, I would be happy to be Roberta's sponsor.
One thing I have to mention. You told Roberta that you needed your husband to help keep you clean.
Yeah, it's true.
It may appear that way. But make no mistake. You gain sobriety on your own.
Okay, easier or harder?
Easier.
More fun or less fun?
More fun.
It's a great thing about this workshop when people have a beautiful adjustment, and that was a fucking home run audition for this role. They always say it was easier and more fun because acting is easier and more fun than we thought.
Yeah.
And if it's better and it's easier, that means it's better because you stop being involved in concerns you don't need to be involved in. Your vulture squawk, you had no vulture squawking, right?
Yeah, no, nothing.
So what I want you to do is really give thought to what was my vulture squawking about before this that I wasn't even aware it was a vulture squawk. Because you see, your vulture says things that you believe are true. Things that don't make you feel maybe fear, but make you feel pressure, which because of your childhood, I believe you're perfectly fine walking around with. But not when you're doing your art.
Yeah. You know, another vulture squawking that I have often that I sort of forget about, we've talked about it since, is the sound of my voice. I don't like the sound of my voice. And so I get really conscious of it when I'm in intimate scenes.
You don't have to.
You know, I've been acting for a long time. And so I feel like there's a part of me there where I'm like, well, fucking drop that. You are a professional actor.
Okay.
Don't deal with that bullshit.
I don't want you to feel
You've
like
been doing it 23 years.
don't have to say anything you don't want to say, Michael, but why don't you like the sound of your voice? And you don't have to say anything you don't want to say.
I don't know. I really don't.
Okay, then how about
I
this?
don't.
What does the concept of your voice not being right remind you of from your childhood?
I think not coming up with words, not coming up with the right things to say to people, maybe kids who bullied me. You know, I moved around a lot, so I was new at schools.
But what
So
I do believe that you carry those boys around and project them on your present day because you were abused as a child. And it's very important for you to remind yourself whenever you're around people who you're not close to, they're not the kids at school. Because you may be projecting the kids on school on the people around you, and it makes you fear being who you are because you used to get abused for who you are. You know,
Yeah.
But I could be wrong because I don't know, like what your the sound of your voice would have to do with the kids at school if you don't feel like there's a connection. So I'm wondering why you don't like the sound of your voice.
I guess it's if you can't stick up for yourself or defend yourself, somehow that translates to not being able to come up with the words. And maybe it's because I'm conscious of how it sounds when those ideas and thoughts come out. And so I often find as I'm reading scripts that I can be triggered by certain things and sentences, even words, thoughts, ideas will become just bugaboos. So I'll be really aware of those things.
Well, the concept is if it's hysterical, it's historical, meaning we all want to say the right thing, but you really need to. And you get fully boogalooed, but when you have an anxiety about the words in your voice. If it's hysterical, it's historical, meaning you're not reacting when you're reading a script to reading that script or doing that audition. You're reacting to your childhood. And it's the kids that bullied you. And that's why I hope that for the next 24 hours or maybe 48 hours, whenever you're around more than one person, even if you love them and know them, take a moment to just say, they're not the kids in school. And then you'll never project the kids in school on your present day again. Why would you, now that you know you were doing that? Because I think that's what's happening. But also, I guess I would just say, release and destroy your need to have a good voice.
Yeah.
Release and destroy your need to have the kind of voice you think you're supposed to have. Because what you're doing is you have an inner child, the you who was just 4 or 5 that lives in your heart. And when you say, I don't like my voice, what you're doing is you're telling your inner child, I hate your voice. And I want you to show your inner child the love and acceptance you should have been showed from the beginning. So just be aware that when you don't like your voice, be aware of whose voice you don't like. And it's that little boy that lives in your heart. So you're being an abusive parent if you keep telling him his voice is no good. So instead of saying your voice is good, just say, look, who gives a shit if we have a good voice or not? I release and destroy my need to have a good voice. It's my voice.
Yeah.
And that's all I want. I want to have my voice.
Yeah. I love it. It's
Anyway.
great. It's thank you. It's a great reminder. It's affirmative. It's a great positive reminder.
Good,
know.
good. Great work. And what a
Agreed.
wonderfully easy and marvelous scene. And that time, because you remembered, oh yeah, the literal circumstances are that I'm proud of this person and it's good news. All of a sudden you came off as just the warmest, kindest man. Because you finally got out of the way of the scene with all of your anxiety about responsibility of getting it right, which he doesn't have. He's just proud.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great work. Wonderful audition.
Thanks, Jack.
You're welcome. Good to see you.
You too.
So that's the workshop. And I want to thank everybody for coming. So many beautiful adjustments. Also, unless somebody has a question, which it doesn't seem anyone does, I want to just remind everybody that all the money today went to Stacey Abrams' Fair Fight 2020, which is helping to protect the vote all across the country. And that's a great thing. This was a wonderful, wonderful experience. I hope that you all have a beautiful week. Stay safe, stay productive, make content, do your art for the selfish love of doing it, and be kind to yourself. Take care. Bye-bye.